So just a little bit ago, Apple announced that brand new iPhone SE that everybody already knew about. We already knew pretty much everything that there was to know about it, but now that it's real, I have a hot take to give to you, and in this video I want to talk about what this thing is, why it matters more than any other phone that's going to be released in 2020, and hopefully give you guys the information that you need to know to decide whether or not it's what you want to have for yourself. So let's just jump right in. So what is it? It's got a 4.7-inch LCD display, 12 megapixel optical stabilized 4K 60 frames per second camera, 7 megapixel front camera, the A13 Bionic chip, iOS 13, IP67 water resistance, Touch ID for those of you who have been missing the Touch ID, wireless charging, and it comes in black, white, product red. So that's all cool. It looks like the iPhone 8. It has all of those features. It's got current specs. Now, the important part is how much it costs. We're looking at $399 for 64 gigabytes, $449 for 128 gigabytes, and $549 for 256 gigabytes. Now, I'm trying not to get too excited here. Pre-order Friday, April 17th, ships on the 24th of April. So let me get into my hot take, the reasons why this matters so much. I mean, this phone was going to be a big deal before this whole coronavirus crisis thing, and now it's going to be the phone that so many people who might be hurting in one way or another from everything that's been going on will be able to choose over the $1,000 plus phones that are out there, and still they'll be able to get a phone that does everything that they need to do at a flagship level. This iPhone has the most current chip. It has the most current operating system, and it's going to be a powerhouse phone for a long time. It puts other phones in this price range to shame. I mean, the specs are great. The colors are fantastic. Although, yeah, maybe you want some more, but you can always go iPhone 11. You can always go iPhone XR. Basically, this is an iPhone with all of the current specs that the iPhones have, the A13 chip, etc., that costs 60% less than the Galaxy S20. Now, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but they're both flagship spec phones. This puts something like the rumored Google Pixel 4a into preemptive shame. Because the Pixel 4a, the 3a last year, they were great phones, but they had lower specs, not as strong a processor, subpar build quality in terms of using plastic over glass and other premium build materials. This iPhone is an iPhone 8. It was the flagship phone just a couple of years ago in terms of how it looks, and now it's been updated to be everything that we need from an iPhone. And it's not even $500. First off, why can Apple do this? Why is this possible? Apple, as you may know, Apple makes their own processors, the A-series processors that they use in the iPhone and the iPads and in the Apple TV and a bunch of other stuff. They make their own processors, which gives them a leg up on the Android folks who usually rely on Qualcomm to give them the chips that run their phones. And so when you have that third party's relationship, you don't get the same value out of the silicone. Apple can make their own chips, and that's going to be more cost effective in the long run. Until some Android manufacturer can come up with a chip of their own that they can then use instead of buying from a Qualcomm, then no Android phone will ever hit this price point with this much quality, this much performance, nothing. It's just Apple has sort of won the smartphone game today. Yes, there are Android phones that cost as much as this. There are Android phones that cost less, but they aren't top of the line phones. They don't have flagship quality materials inside and out. Whereas last year's Pixel 3a looked like an incredible price to performance value, and it was, yeah. And the Pixel 4a, it looks a lot less attractive when you put $399 for the 4A up against $399 for the iPhone SE. There has been a lot of complaining about the proliferation of $1,000 phones over the past couple of years, and right now, Samsung has a certain amount of egg on their face because the $1,000 plus Samsung Galaxy S20 line isn't selling, and it wasn't selling in the few weeks before the whole coronavirus thing took hold of the world. And let's be real, it's just been a matter of time before the bottom drops out of the smartphone market. And I think this whole coronavirus situation has just sped up the process. Phones are now commodities. They don't improve year after year after year, just slightly. They are necessary tools. They are the necessary tools of modern life, but they don't any longer have to be signifiers of affluence or a flex that you can afford this phone or that phone. They are a necessary thing for the majority of people to have in their lives. And now, 16 million people in the United States have applied for unemployment the last time I heard. We need a $400 phone that will last for 5 years, that will give you great performance, that you don't have to worry about replacing or just being obsolete anytime soon. Apple has been backfilling their line of phones over the past couple of years, starting with the iPhone XR a couple of years ago, and then lowering the price from the XR with the 11 last year, while keeping the XR in the lineup. The XR and the 11 were proof of the concept that you can make the right kind of sacrifices in building these phones, and it's possible to have the best of both worlds, a reasonable price for an iPhone and top-of-the-line performance. If you asked me 2 years ago, would Apple be the one leading the way in this particular market segment, I would have been like, no, that's crazy. That's crazy. The world is a much different place right now, and Apple is suddenly poised to take this new iPhone SE and grab even more market share worldwide. Yes, they're likely to release iPhones that are $1,000 plus later on this year with the iPhone 12, but having this option sitting below the XR and the 11 is something that we've never seen with an iPhone. The SE takes the sting out of those higher price tags and puts iPhones in the pockets of people who would never have been able to afford a new iPhone before. So international markets, different markets here in the US and Canada, it's a big, big deal. Again, the iPhone SE, given where we are as a globe right now, is the most important phone that will be released in 2020. It might not be the fanciest phone, it might not be the most cutting edge phone or anything like that, but it is the most important phone. And it's that price to performance thing that's going to put these phones in a lot of pockets. Think about this, folks. I don't mean to belabor this, but now we have a reasonably priced iPhone, less than $500 iPhone with great specs and features that actually were taken away that people wanted back. And so that's great. And it's going to be available at a price where people can afford it who never could before. I mean, I can't wait to see how this plays out. I know that even cynical tech people like myself are kind of really excited to get this iPhone SE into our hands and just to see, like, this is what you can do. The world has changed. The smartphone market has changed. We're never going back to all the way like $2,000 phones. There will be those phones, but right now, where the market matters, what is the biggest thing in tech at the moment? How great can you make a phone for the least money? The iPhone SE seems to be that phone right now. It's stealing the thunder of everything that's going to be released this year. So let me know what you think. Are you going to get an iPhone SE? It's hard to really find a negative about something that is a flagship phone that has made a few compromises and gone down to a $400 price point. Look forward to hearing what you have to say down in the comments. Thanks so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech so honest it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out.